Namaste and welcome, beloved mighty companions, to this holy circle of infinite light, of love, of the voice for God, in this new way of looking so directly and simply, and to be reminded that we can all hear, all beings can hear Jesus. It's so much happiness in that, and seeing that He's always with us. Unless, of course, we try and tell him no, in which case it's going to be quite painful. And he's just reminding me of how valuable it is. We used to call this in community take a knee. And I think it comes from the movie After Earth, where he sent on it. It's a really good wake-up movie, because he and his father, this boy and his father, Will Smith and Jaden Smith, they crash land on a planet where there's a monster, a beast. And Will Smith's hurt, so he can't go to send the signal to ask for rescue. And so Jaden Smith character has to go. And it's just a beautiful reminder. You know, he would say to his son, take a knee, you know, and really listen for this deep listening, and that we can take a knee anytime for the deep listening to the voice, that infinite voice of love, the song of love that sings within us. That's all Jesus' voice is, the song of love that sings. And he's just reminding how helpful when you're really not sure, we act like we're sure, but we're really not sure, because the ego is made to make us feel not sure. We've made something, the miscreation is for something that makes us feel like we don't know ourselves, that we know something, some object, some idea, some no to God, and that we can't hear this voice of the song of our heart. That's what that voice is. That voice is the song of our heart singing in there. They were like, no, I don't want to hear Jesus at any cost. Like the block. Keep Jesus out sign. There's so many conceptual ideas, but this is merely, he's merely that beautiful symbol that we don't want to know ourselves, actually. We don't want to know who we are, so we can play and extend out that timeline. Push him out. Push that voice out. No, 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 I don't want to hear. And he was reminding me how pain is not wanting to hear the voice, actually. Like pain in the body is trying to push the voice out. Project out. No. It's a big no to the light. We can ask the divine light, infinite light of being, honesty of God is pain or projection out, a no to ourselves. But it changes everything. It changes everything. Every idea we ever had, we just say, oh yeah, right, I desire this, and let him show. He's reminding me this morning, we had a meditation. It was like, really look to see how pain is a projection. It's pushing something out and seeing how much we want it, how much I want it. Whoever's here, consciousness wants to play the game of pain, not to hear that voice, anything not to hear that voice. Let's stretch time out. We need a time out from time out. We need a time out of time to the timeless, which we do in these lessons every day together, these holy, holy relationships that are developing through the light circles and the light brigade, and the willingness and to look, and ask Jesus for help, and then hearing Jesus talking through all of you is just beyond the beyond. It's so beautiful. So, so beautiful. And the symbols of willingness to admit that we're denying infinite love, and the power of that. That's all he's saying. He's just saying, admit the denials. You're going to be so happy. Admit that you're denying divinity. That's the whole gig of the Course in Miracles. Just admit, yes, here's the light. Ta-da. The light's already here. I'm already saved. And cease to deny it through miracles. Just ask for miracles. And he's also, and I've said this yesterday, and it's for here, becoming so explicit about asking him for miracles, asking him which miracles. It's like, Jesus, what miracles, what miracles, what miracles? Is this time for miracles? A miracle here is it? So he can say, and he will tell you no. He'll tell you, not now, or hold, see that denial, hold with it. So he can just help us so explicitly to transcend this idea that we can deny divinity. We can hear him that explicitly. He's telling every being can hear him to this level of tweak. And Sarah Hovell dropped by. She's in here for a week, and in the area, not at the monastery, but in the area. And she's saying, it's just so encouraging to hear that I can hear. We need to hear that from each other. That's why we need our brother, because we're going to doubt that, because the ego thought system is doubt, that we can hear to that level of that explicit, just like he talks to Helen, just exactly like that. And we read that. That was so worthwhile to look at that part of the Ur text just for the relationship. And she'd write it down. She wrote down everything and that he would say for all of us, so that we could see that we could talk to him the same way, with that same level of explicitness. And I'm getting the reflections back, how beings are saying, well, it's just when they finally decide, the decision comes to talk to them, like, well, it's just like a regular conversation. It's like, yes, it's like a regular conversation, like you're talking to somebody next to you, because it's all the same. It's no different, except this carries the power of heaven with it. So you want to pay close attention. But he'll point exactly, okay, here's what you need to see. Here's what you need to look at. Just look at this. And admit it. See, we don't want to look and admit. That's the whole thing. Once we just go, okay, I'm just willing to hear you tell me the yes to being told that we don't know what we think we know. And then that conversation will be so explicit. I don't know if I can. Jesus is saying you can't say that enough. You can't say it enough. You can't say enough the ease, how explicit, how helpful, how simple, how light that conversation is. And we were talking yesterday, someone was talking, well, can I journal that conversation? And that's coming in again. Yes, 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 yes. Ask a question, type the answer. Ask a question, type this. Just go naked to the answer. It's like, be like so innocent. Just be totally innocent, so that the ideas that you go don't creep in there. And just type, and you just be amazed. Well, Jesus, what about this? He's offering that line by line. Anything, any book, holographic universe, we watched it. The next thing. And you can see he's going to tell you line by line, okay, this isn't true. This isn't true. This is the value in this. This is what you look at. And you'll start seeing how we're swimming in this soup of things we think we know, and how easy it is to get lost in there because we want to. Facebook pages with information, friends emailing you, just a plethora, it's just unlimited, because the mind is unlimited, and it's misusing that power just to create decorations. So we get lost in the forest of nothingness. And to be so attentive to that voice, listening, left turn, right turn, answer this email, don't answer that email, and just see how light it gets. That level of specificity is what he's saying we must have. Yes, must have that level of a relationship, because we're so used to that, walking through the forest and counting the ants on the tree. He might tell you to count the ants on the tree, but at least the voice who knows is telling you to count the ants on the tree, because its purpose is a purpose for it, for seeing through the denial of divinity. And the greatest thing about the holographic universe is not the content, because there's a lot of content, and we were talking about that, how when you look at that content, you're going to see the beauty of it, because it's still trying to find a way to blame that hologram on something outside. And so you can't really you start seeing, oh, I can't interpret a darn thing without saying, is this true in the light of divine being? Is this sentence true in the light? Does the light see this as true? Is this helpful to see? Yes, there's a holographic universe. Yes, ask the light. Is the universe a hologram? Is this a hologram? In the best words, there are no words for what it is, because it's unreal. But we start to see it's an out picturing of every subconscious desire that remains in the lower level of awareness. And let's ask the light, in the light of divine being, can we be at peace without the complete reinterpretation of that hologram by the Holy Spirit? The holodeck, without that retranslation. So we look at lesson 280 together and ask Jesus. He says, start with me, start with the light within. Start with infinite. Turn the dial to infinite and stay there. Stay with me. Stay with me. That's what he's saying. Stay with me. Stay with what's infinite. So that'll break the habit of engaging with the nota infinite. Lesson 280. What limits I lay upon God's Son? He says the limits of not listening to the divine light within. That's the limits. Not listening. He's just direct. He has to tell me every day. I guess I need to hear that. Stay with the unchanging, the voice that comes from unchanging, infinite love. It's our only function. Only function. Is the light limited? In our direct experience, can we look for the limit on the light? Because there's such a concept about the Jesus character. And that the Jesus character, see, we're happy, sit here and go, there's something that's unlimited here. That somehow in the miscreation, it's like, yes, but I'm not listening to that voice of the light. It's happy and it's really nice. It's a nice place to visit, to go, something infinite here. Infinite, unchanging, but somehow through consciousness, that trick in consciousness, like the voice for God, which is merely our voice, is an object. It's like this Jesus character, and he hung on the cross and not so good. Rather than realizing and with honesty of God, that's our voice. That's the same voice that's coming from infinite light. Ask, is Jesus' voice merely our voice coming from infinite light? And that the play and the trick, we need to see through that trick. The trick and play in consciousness, not to hear and follow that voice and to pretend like we can't hear it clear as a bell. It may not come through exactly like a voice, but we'll know it. We just know it because it can come right out of our mouth. When we hear, he says, hear me. and say what I tell you. Hear me and say what I tell you. He's so explicit about this. And practice that joining, because you just, beings do not want to go out. I can speak for myself, so I know what he's talking about, not talking about Jesus, like, the underground ACIM student. I would only talk about it with one friend when I started, like, yeah. Because the ego knows that if that starts, that what you're hearing starts coming through there, it starts washing away. You're teaching. You teach what you learn. You talk. It's like this. You're going to really hear it. And then stuff starts coming out that's, is true, and you don't know where that came from. That's how we need to be. We don't know where it comes from. It's not a little fabrication in time. It moves through from the timeless. That's what that movement of the timeless is, what he's offering. And yes, I'll repeat that he does say that everyone who's called here is called to this. It may show up in different ways, different forms. That's just the guidance, the custom design program. The curriculum is that you can hear his voice crystal clear. Crystal clear. It's only a choice, he said. It's just a choice not to. And to just keep confirming that you can hear him crystal clear. Whom God created limitless is free. The light of divine being and honesty of God is the light free. Does the light have a limitation on it anywhere? Jesus is just the symbol, a symbol of many, a symbol, a helpful symbol of the light within. Infinite, unchanging, limitless. Is the light of divine being limitless? Is the voice for God limitless? See, in our direct experience, when honesty of God really look, he says you still will do anything to avoid it. To go sideways on that voice. But the light circles are here to help us with that. Help us. Yes, hear that from the light. Yes, this is to help to get that voice be so clear and see the value. And he'll demonstrate the value. Whom God created limitless is free. Therefore, the light's limitless. Thus, to experience limitless, the voice. Follow the voice. So that limitless becomes the continual experience. I can invent imprisonment for him, but only in illusions, not in truth. So let's just look with the light of divine being. The desire to invent imprisonment. Let's ask, oh, you can feel that. So who is saying, I can feel the smoke rising when I look at these things. You start like, as that energy clears out. But just stay. Just say, Jesus, okay, is this clearing or keeping? Clearing, okay. Oh. And just let it, the energy of it. Is this clearing or it's clearing? Okay, you're fine. He'll tell you you're fine. Hold. The desire to invent imprisonment, and just see it. Just look at it. This is interesting. Okay, Jesus, yes, I like inventing imprisonment for myself. Oh, the ego doesn't want to see that. Just hold the desire and let him show it fully. Let it fully be revealed. Here's, okay, I admit it. Oh, I'm smoking. Years, whatever's happening, just be with that admission. And when he says, okay, ask me for a miracle. Okay, Jesus, are we ready for a miracle? He says, yes. We're always ready for a miracle. We just like to pretend like we're not. And that's what he's going to show us. He'll go, I'm not ready. And you'll feel it. No, I don't want to feel. Because we're not fully willing to admit we're wrong. We have to be willing to admit we're wrong, because miracles can't be forced. Miracles must be accepted because they've been denied. The miracle constipation. Okay, so let's see if there's any more energy around this imprisonment for myself, the desire to invent imprisonment. See if there's any more energy needs to show us on that. I'm willing to see it directly. And invent illusions. Is there any desire to invent illusions? And can we ask for a miracle? Just hear that. Yes, you just feel this lift. Oh, lifted into happiness. It's like being launched. You feel how heavy that stuff is. It's a crushing weight that he says your tolerance for pain can be high, because we just don't see that we're living under a 50,000 pound weight, pinning ourselves down with these illusions. Not in truth. So let's ask, in the light of divine being, can imprisonment be true for the light? Is imprisonment possible for light beings? No. Big old hologram, even on the holodeck, is imprisonment true? All the forms and shapes and sizes and sounds and colors and textures, can those imprison the light? So the whole idea of the ego is to hunt for a way to be imprisoned, look into form and come up with a reason why that proves, that color, shape, sound, texture proves I'm in prison. Jesus says this need not be. In the light of divine being, need this be? Need we? Are we required? Who's in charge? We're letting the projection be in charge of who we are. Ask the light. We're bowing down to our own projection. When we're Lord of the universe, is the light Lord of the universe? See what that means. Lord of the universe. Someone said this is a gross misunderstanding of A Course in Miracles. Let's ask the light, is this a gross understanding to see that the light is Lord of the universe? That is so powerful. And when you see that, there's a Sanskrit Jaya Jagadish Hare. In Hindu, they sing, in Hinduism, they have this beautiful song to Lord of the universe. It's a celebration of all that is. It's honoring the Lord of the universe, which the light is, which we are. No different. So anything that appears in form can be taken to the light to see, is this true? The only thing that's being taught in this course is light. Not light, you can't teach it. It's to teach that the desire to deny the light, as long as that's accepted, but as long as we accept the denials, see, we're denying that we're denying. We cannot be free. We can read a course 100 times, 1,000 times. We can cite every verse over and over. We can cite every single. It is helpful. He does say it is helpful. You can keep reciting the course lessons, because that's what they're for. They're for washing out. The fastest means, and they're helpful and supportive, the fastest means is to sit with Jesus. Jesus, show me which miracles I need to perform. See, take a knee. Jesus, what miracles show me today, right now? and focus the mind right on that voice in here. Okay, you need to look at this. Look at this. That level of explicit, and then ask them a question about, okay, what is that? Because the ego is even going to make up things to try to have miracles because it wants control over those miracles. Ask the light, and the light of divine being. Does the ego want control over miracles? Just hear that, yes. So it's going to send you down the miracle hell thing. Just you need a miracle for this, you need a miracle for that, and it's trying to co-opt what a miracle is. A miracle is to listen to Jesus to tell you which miracles to perform. That's what a miracle is. To not know anything about miracles and to have him just give you the verse, the one who wrote the book, the one who knows. And then that's the light training. Go to the light first, ask the light, then he's going to tell us what miracles. No thought of God has left its Father's mind. Let's ask the light. And the light of divine being, has any thought of God left its Father's mind? So he's telling us in here that we believe, and he says in the Course, we believe a thought of God can leave the Father's mind, that we can leave the Father's mind. Jesus, is there any desire for an experience to leave the Father's mind? Well, and to look at that, wanting to leave that, to have an experience of leaving totality, to be bereft of infinite light. Just look right at it with them. Is this a place for a miracle? And just feel the love that comes even asking for miracles, like infinite. See, it's asking for what's infinite rather than playing with what's finite. That's where he's focused. He's focused the mind right in the infinite pocket, a pocket of infinity. Straight up. No thought of God is limited at all. Can we find a thought of God that's limited? And he's talking thoughts of God. He's reminding us about the lesson. What limits can I lay upon this God's Son? Let's look in honesty of God. Can we lay a limit on infinite? So that comes up so often in the spiritual search. It's worth mentioning again. I was so peaceful. I felt so free. I could see I'm nothing. I can see there's nothing here. I can see it's a hologram. It's light. It's light. It's light. But today, but what happened to it? We forgot to listen to the voice. That's all it is. We've made a decision not to listen to the voice that tells us we're infinite. That's it. It's a desired experience not to listen to the voice for God. Wow. You mean I can recognize I'm infinite? It's the end, because we know the infinite doesn't hide under a couch. It's not under, where's the light? The light's everywhere. So it's just a decision in that moment to say no to ourselves as light. That's it. Why is it? What happened to it? And he'll keep repeating it. Ask him, Jesus, why don't I feel like the light? Ask him what he says. You're not listening. What does he say? I can all hear him. Jesus, when I'm not feeling like light, when I'm not feeling infinite, I'm not what's the, you're just not listening. See, because the voice for God's never going to tell us that we're finite. So the only way we can be finite is listen to the voice that's telling us we're finite, that God is missing, that God is dead. God is MIA. So this voice helps us with the discernment of what we're choosing. No thought of God is limited at all. No thought of God is forever pure. He's saying we're a thought of God. In Jesus, in the honesty of God, are we a thought of God? And he's saying right here, no thought of God, but is forever pure. Jesus, in the honesty of God, are we forever pure? That voice doesn't come in and say, no, you're not. That's why we need to listen to that voice, because it's the voice that tells us we're forever pure. Can I lay limits on the Son of God, whose Father willed that he be limitless? Jesus said, if you have a desire to experience limitation, you will experience it. Jesus, do I desire an experience of laying limits on the Son of God? And he'll say yes. But just hear him, because we're learning to really hear him. Jesus, is there a desire below my level of awareness to lay limits on the Son of God? Okay, just admit it. It's like, oh, I feel that. I want those limits. Can I ask for a miracle? He says, yes. Okay. A change that I perceive that I can be limited. A change in that desire for the experience of limitation. Whose Father willed that he be limitless. In the honesty of God, has the light willed that we're limitless. Jesus. So therefore is the desire to experience not being limitless against the will of God. See how that desire is against the will of God. Is going against the will of God going to hurt? Hear the light. The will of God is that we be limitless. We think free will is to follow our will. Free will is defined by the ego is death. See, we go out and fight for freedom, the will to choose. We're fighting for the will to experience death. Ask the light. Is the fight all about the will to experience death? Like, you start checking in on what you're fighting for. We're fighting God for an experience of wanting to feel death, to be dead to the light. Let's ask the light that. That's the entire fight. That's all there is. The fight to deny the light, which we can't deny. Buddha laughs. Buddha laughs like, oh, that's here all the time. It can't be anywhere else. Can the light be anywhere else? Can I lay limits on the Son of God, whose Father willed that he be limitless and like himself in freedom and in love? In the light and the honesty of God, are we like God, the light? Can we be anything other than light? See if the light says yes. Can we be anything other than light? Find that in there, really, in honesty of God. Can we be anything other than light? See if that voice ever comes in and says that you can. Like himself in freedom and in love. Light being synonymous with love. Let's ask the light. Is light synonymous with love? We've so forgotten what love is. Love is who we are. Let's ask the light that. Is love who we are? Is love all we are? I'm like, that's the voice we're learning to talk to. That's the voice of Jesus telling us all the goodies, the good news, the voice of good news within our hearts. And we do everything we could to stamp that thing out. To stamp that thing out, to try to prove that Jesus is wrong. Let's just see how successful we're going to be at telling the voice we're not limitless. Today, I let me give honor to your Son, for thus alone I find the way to you. Today, let me give honor to your Son, to the self. to myself as the Son, your Son. Can we be anything other than the Son of God in wholeness? The sonship, the totality of the Son of God. For thus alone I find the way to you. This is a happy alone. This is the oneness. Father, I lay no limits on the Son you love and you created limitless. The honor that I give to him is yours. To pay honor to myself as the Son of God, let's ask the light. To pay honor to myself is to hear the voice for God, to honor the voice for God, and to give praise to God. Ask, is following the voice for God giving praise? It's a constant song. See, it's singing the song of God in our hearts. To listen to that voice. And what is yours belongs to me as well. It's honoring that what is his belongs to us, to honor the voice of the light within. It's to join the celebration, cease to deny, the inner celebration that's always happening. The song of the light, you can hear it, but not with the ears. Yet each sound carries that song. Everything we see carries that song of infinite. Every touch we touch carries the song of infinite. Every smell we smell carries the song of infinite. Every taste we taste carries the song of infinite. Unless we would lay the memory of death over it. So we let this is the tuning fork to the infinite. What limits can I lay upon the Son of God? In truth, what limits can be laid upon the Son of God? We're just tuning in to what's always true, the song of creation that sings within. The happy song of infinite creation that sings within, singing in the light of divine being. Can we find any place that the song of creation is not found? We listen. To hear the world anew, to see the world anew shining, to taste the world anew, to taste God in every taste, to breathe God in every breath, feel the joy, to breathe in light. To touch joy, to touch the light within every touch. The song, hear the song in every touch. The song of joy. So that these things can no longer be used as an attempt to deny that God is here. That God sings within you always. Holy Son of God. Amen. They'll just sit in silence a minute.